Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Saturday with Sarah. I'm Sarah Simon. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Appleton, Wisconsin, and I'm so excited to be with you today. I have a lot of people who jumped on early. So we've got Julie and Mary and Linda and Michelle, Amanda, Holly D, Sarah. Welcome and thank you so much for joining me this morning. Um, let me tell you, last night I had everything done and ready to go by 10 o'clock. And I was in bed by 10:30, and that doesn't happen on a Friday night when I have my Saturday mornings. And so I was so excited and we were ready to go. I brought Lila out to go potty before we went to bed, and it was raining. And Lila does not like the rain. So she went out and she went potty really quickly and she came back in. I'm like, oh no, she didn't poop. So I hope that she makes it through the night. Well, I shouldn't have thought that because, of course, at 3 a.m., she has to go out. And at 3 a.m., there are 5 deer across the street from my house, and she's barking like crazy at them. I'm sure if my neighbors heard her, they were not too thrilled at 3 a.m. But she did her business. She came back in, and we both fell fast asleep again. But it's like, go figure. The night that I'm not up until 2 o'clock, then she gets up. But otherwise, when I can finally sleep. So good morning, Betty and Nancy and Julie from Ohio. Thank you so much for joining me. I have some happy mail to share with you. I received this card, and I see Michelle is on here. Look at this cute fold. It's similar to the one that we did, but instead it is a kind of like a V rather than just going off to the edge. And this is some retired paper that I absolutely love. And then you open it up and it's kind of like last time. It's the where it has a double fold to open up the card. But look at that. Those are those Jungle Pals. That's a celebration item. And then the Jungle Pals dies, which is also a celebration item at the $100 level. So, good morning, KO from Clearwater Beach. Oh, I'm so jealous. It's raining here. I hope it's nicer there. And good morning, Sandy. And then I also received, so I had my stamp club did I have it this last week? I don't even remember. No, not this past week, but the week before I had it. And one of my customers, and actually she's on my team and she's on here this morning, Mary Van Domlin, was telling me about a card that she saw online that Susan Campfield did. And she was explaining how she loved it because you could see both sides of the paper instead of having to choose one side. And I said, oh, I did that. And I showed her a card and she goes, no, that's really cute, but it was different than that. So she went home and she made me the card. Look at how cute that is. And when you open it up, you can see the other side of the paper on the inside because it has like a little book edge, which she embossed. And then you open it up and it has the paper that you can see on the inside. So thank you so much, ladies, for your cards. I really, really appreciate it. It's always fun to go to the mailbox and see other things besides bills and sale flyers and, all the political information, all that kind of fun stuff. This is much better than all of that. So thank you so much for filling my mailbox with fun mail. Good morning, Karen Wetstein, and let's see, Kathy jumped on as well. Let's give away some prizes. How about if we start with that? So last week we did make this fold with that bird flight and airy paper. Someone had made the suggestion, and I didn't try it. I should have. But they made the suggestion to put the dimensionals of the label on this side rather than on the side that I put it on, because then you could maybe tuck this flap underneath. That was a really good suggestion. I didn't even think of that. And then someone else made a suggestion, and oh, I know, Mary made one, and she said she put a little piece of Velcro and she Velcroed it together. So that is that card. And then we opened it up like this. And look at, I took somebody's suggestion and put another label on the back so I didn't have to redo that. So that was our one card. And then we did another different fold where we folded a piece of the paper back and glued it and did it with our hot air balloons. When I was taking pictures of these, I put little glue dots in here to hold them shut. So I have to, did you notice I got all that computer work done last week? See, I work on a computer all day. So the last thing I want to do on the weekend is work on a computer. But I was on my computer almost all day. I think it was Sunday, and ended up getting all that done. So the hot air balloon, and when we open it, I'm always here for you. So receiving these for commenting. So anytime you make a comment, you get assigned a number. I do a random draw of the number, and you can win the cards that I made the week before, or whatever projects I made. I do check the live chat, which is going on right now. I check the comments for those that watch it after the fact. And then I do also check Facebook, because I know some people don't want to sign in to YouTube, don't want to make a YouTube account. They just want to be able to watch it. And unfortunately, you can't comment when you do that. And so on Facebook, some people comment, and I do check there. So receiving these cards after all that explanation, number 21 on my list, who happened to be Sherry Wilker. So Sherry, I do not, if you're watching, I do not have your address. So private message me your address, and I will get these in the mail to you. Then if you share, so last time I think there was somebody who ended up, I think it might have been Jeanne, shared, and then one of her friends that she shared it with hopped on, and they knew each other. So anytime you share, whether it's on a Facebook page, you email somebody, make sure you write just like Karen did, and a couple of other people. I can see Karen's right now, but other people had said, Sarah said that she shared. Make sure that you write that in the comments that you shared, and you also get put into a drawing. Oh, there's Lila's fluffy tail. And receiving a pack of these purple fine shimmer gems, which, oh, these are so wonderful. There's 3 different shades of purple on here, and they definitely sparkle, is number 5, Mary Linsmeyer. So Mary, I will get these in the mail to you. And then when you place an order, so I do have a host code, and if your order is under $150, I would just ask that you use that host code. It helps me with different being able to purchase these prizes by getting some money off. And if it's over $150, do not put the host code in, because you will get those hostess benefits, and I want you to be able to take advantage of those. Don't give them to me. So receiving the Softly Sophisticated bundle. So this is a celebration item. We're going to use this today. It's one of those 2-step stamps, which I'll show you how those work. Also comes with an embossing folder, because this is a celebration item that you must spend $100 to be able to be eligible for it. Receiving this for placing an order last week was number 2, who happened to be Amanda Chavo. So Amanda, I will get these off in the mail to you as well. I wanted to remind you of the promotion. Let me see if I can get there, that I have going on through the month of January. If you spend $50, you get a PDF with pictures and dimensions for 8 cards. I know I said I was going to get those off in the mail. I ended up having problems with a couple of my Word documents not pulling into my PDF editor. So I'm retyping those today, and then I will be sending those off. It'll be later this afternoon, because I'm going to a funeral. Right after my live today, I'm heading off to a funeral. And then after the funeral, when I get home, I'll be working on that and getting that off to people. So for $50, you get the PDF. For $75, you get a pack of gems and the PDF. And then for $100, you get a half a pack of the new DSP, a pack of the gems, and the PDF. So what I did, a couple of people have made a couple of purchases through the month. Like they started the month and they maybe made like $100 purchase right away. And then they saw stuff that they absolutely couldn't live without. That's how I am. And so then they made another purchase. I do total all of them up together. So if you ended up spending $50 here, then $50 here, then $50 here, and it totals up to $150, I'm not going to just give you the PDF, the PDF, and the PDF. I will give you the gems, and I will give you the paper as well. And I've been keeping track of all of that in my notebook. If people have won prizes and I sent them something, I ended up sending their prize or what they had earned already to them. And I've marked that down that it was sent. Others of you, it is coming. Okay, so I'm hoping to get some of that stuff done this weekend so it all goes out in the mail on Monday. But that promotion does go through the end of the month, which is yet into this week. Next week, I will kick off the February promotion, which is going to be similar, but instead of gems, it's going to be a pack of ribbon or twine. And then it's also going to be DSP. So you will still be getting that. So I just like to appreciate you for your orders. And I like to, especially during celebration, give you a couple of promotions as well. So that is that. I don't think there's anything else that I have to talk about. Thank you for all of you who said congratulations to the winners. It's nice that you support each other. Hopefully you all will get a chance at some point to be a winner on here. It's just kind of the luck of the draw. So I think we need to get to stamping. So let me see if I can get my camera switched here. And I'm going to turn on one light. And I'm going to turn off my overhead lights. I just get a little less glare when I turn those overhead lights off. Okay, our first card today features the suite. And I am going to be honest with you, I didn't order anything in this suite except for the paper when the new catalog first went live. I'm not a shabby chic person it's just not my style normally, but let me tell you, I received some swap cards and I'm going to share them with you from Jay Shante. I don't know if Jay's on here. Jay is a very, very talented stamper, and I received the swap cards from her and they were absolutely beautiful. Then I'm like, I have to get something else besides the paper to go with it. I had already gotten the cork run. I had gotten these two things as well. I always tend to get the bling and ribbon and things like that, the embellishments. But I couldn't decide. This is a really big, it was $130.75 for the suite. And I was purchasing so many other things that I needed to do for swaps that I couldn't at that time. So as I looked at all of the swaps that I got, I decided I wanted this bundle right here. So I'm going to be going ahead and using this bundle, the Notes of Nature, for my card today. The reason I opted on this one, I really loved this So Sorry. I loved the congratulations that were in here. I loved some of these greetings. I also love these stamps and the fact that they had dies and that these dies would cut out the stuff that's in the designer paper, but I could always fussy cut if I had to. And I did have a couple of images here that I could use if I wanted to. So if I had to make a choice between the two, I opted for this one. Now, I love this label, and I've seen some really cute things with this label, but this is the one that I ended up on. I might get this one yet, don't get me wrong, but when I had to make a choice, that's how I kind of go through the catalog. So Nature's Sweetness is the suite of products that we're using. And let me get my bucket up here. Yes, Diane, Jay is amazing, and she did a wonderful job with that suite. I believe she did a display for an event with a bunch of demonstrators in Fond du Lac that I normally go to, but I couldn't because of my teaching schedule this year, I wasn't very happy about that. Then we ended up getting all that snow that weekend, so I probably wouldn't have gotten there anyway. But here's the stamp set. I love this. Today is all about you. Happy birthday. Just a little note to say hello. We're going to use thanks for making me smile. What a nice way to send a thank you note, right? I do send a lot of thank you notes, and I just think that's really cool. And then it has these little background things that you can add, and then a couple of floral. And then the thing that sold me on this one, like I said, was this die. I loved that. And we're going to be using this one in our card today. All right, let's see here. I have, let me close that up and get that out of the way. I'm going to get away from your comments here from a little bit so I can put my banners up. I still need an assistant if anybody wants to do that job. All right, we are going to start with, and I didn't put the which color this is, but this is Pebble Path, and this is 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored it at 5 1/2. All right, then we have, this is, I never would have thought of putting these together, but they're both the colors in my paper. This is Pecan Pie, and this measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Now, if you don't like 1/8 inches, cut it at 4 by 5 1/4. I just wanted a very little bit of this to be showing around my designer paper. All right, I have a piece of designer paper, and I did, let's see, 2 5/8 is this one. This is one of the designer papers. Now look at on the back, you have the gold to get that chic part in with the shabby. This is 3 3/4, and it measures 2 5/8 of an inch. And then this one is just 1/4 of an inch smaller. So this is 3 3/4 by 2 3/8. Now, if you want to, again, if you don't like 1/8 inches, you don't get 1/8 inches, make one of them 1/8 of an inch bigger. Okay, so you could make this one 4/8, which is 1/2, and make the other one 1/2 as well. So make them each 2 1/2. You could do that. You could make this one even bigger and that one even smaller. It's entirely up to you and how you want to do that. Okay, then I have for my inside, I have a piece of basic white that's 4 by 5 1/4, and I have a little strip of that designer paper that measures 1/2 by 5 1/4. And since this went up and down, I decided to, for a little bit of difference, I was going to put this one more along the side. All right, that's all I have for dimensions. Yes, for this one. So I'm going to go back to my comments so I can see your comments. All right, so let's start by doing a little bit of stamping. I also, I should pull this out for the front of my card. So this is how the card's going to go together. This is a piece of our cardstock vellum, and this is the largest of those circles in the Everyday Details dies. Love those dies. This is the second size that's in there. This one has where it cuts out circles on there, on the outside and on the inside, but I just needed the ones on the inside, and that's basic white. And then I took that die and I just cut a small portion of it off that I'm going to use for something along the side. And I'm going to tell you that this front piece, the card is different than the card that I received. And I think I maybe have the card somewhere. Maybe I put it with my ones to show you. Yes, I did. So I took somebody else's design for the front and I made it different with the way that I was putting all of the pieces of DSP together. All right, we are going to stamp this. We're going to stamp a little bit on the inside using the stamps from the Notes of Nature stamp set. So not the other one, which I can't remember what that one is. I think it has like maybe fields in it. I don't remember. I'm going to be honest. I don't remember. Okay, so we've got Pebble Path and Pecan Pie ink that we're going to be using. I'm going to start with the small circle, and I'm going to take that greeting, "Thanks for making me smile," and I'm going to stamp that, and I'm going to stand up here so that I can see a little bit better. I got to look over the top of my camera. I'm just going to stamp that along the side. All right. Then with the Pecan Pie ink, I'm going to ink up this stamp that has like, it says field notes. It's got like a little stamp there. It's got numbers up here. It's got some writing. Very, very unique. Kind of the shabby part of this as well. I'm going to stamp off once. Whoa, get that off of there. And then I'm just going to stamp that off to the side. Okay, so it just brings a little bit of, I don't know, the shabbiness of all of it into the card. Then on the inside, I'm going to put that little strip of paper, but I'm also going to stamp this little leaf to kind of match what we have going on the outside. I stamped that on the inside as well. That's all we have for stamping. Good morning, Gian. Thanks for joining us. Try to keep up with the comments. It's hard for me once I start stamping to keep up with the comments. All right, let's go ahead and put this together. So as I mentioned, this is going to be just a little strip that I'm going to, hopefully my glue comes out okay. Yep, it is. It's just going to go along the side here to bring that same paper that we had on the outside into the inside. And it looks like I cut this, either the strip is a little bit short or I'm going to leave a little bit on either end because it looked like it was being a little bit short. So there we go. Okay, that is going to go on the inside of our card, and I am going to burnish this a little bit better with my bone folder. And we'll just add that to the inside. That way, thanks for making me smile. I can write whatever I want on the inside. Yeah, I think this was a little bit longer than 5 1/4. I have a pack of white, like 4 by 5 1/4 inch pieces that I put in a bucket so that I can just easily grab them and don't have to cut an entire sheet of paper. And that one maybe was just a little bit longer than 5 1/4. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and attach this piece to the top. And I'm just trying to look at the 1, 2, 3 sides and try to get an even border, as even as I can, on those 3 sides before I press that down. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. Now, if they don't completely butt up to each other, that's okay. We're going to be wrapping some of that leather looking twine around here to cover up the seam. And if they overlap a little bit, that's okay too, because we're going to be wrapping a little bit of that leather cord around to cover up our seam. I just love this layout. I use this layout a ton, just taking one that's a little bit bolder DSP, one that's a little bit more muted, layer them. Sometimes I make this one a little bit smaller, that one a little bit bigger. Sometimes they're pretty much the same size. I kind of vary it up. And then to cover my seam, I end up putting some ribbon or can even be a strip of paper that you put across here. But look at this. It looks like a leather trim that has some gold. I don't know if you can see the gold flecks in that. That again, we've got the shabby, like the leather, and then we've got the chic with that gold coming out, which just really, I think that's why it's called shabby chic, right? I don't know. I like I said, it's not necessarily a style that I go to all the time. And so because of that, I struggle probably a little bit more than kind of mixed media is another thing that I kind of struggle with a little bit too, because it's not something that I do a lot. I'm just going to make sure that I have this straight here. Okay, I do. And I like to just attach, especially something that's a little bit thicker like this. I like to attach it with tape so that it's not going to come off. Hi, Becky. It's okay that you're late. You can always go back and watch the beginning if you need to. All right. So that's on there because this is a little thicker. Now, I thought about just running it across and not attaching it to the back and just having a piece there and attaching a little bit of tape in the center here. And then I'm like, no, I think I'm going to wrap it. So I wrapped it. Because of that, I decided that it would be best to pop this up on dimensionals on my card front. And so I'm just going to put it on either side of that leather trim so that I for sure would keep it down. And I'm going to go ahead and remove all of these. Your pick tool with the little pointed end can take these off as well. I'm going to tell you, I always like stab the, the dimensional. Don't get the thing off anyway. So I don't have fancy fingernails or anything like that because I wouldn't be able to function in my job. And so I end up just peeling them off with my fingertips. Okay, so there is our front. Now, would you ever think of putting Pebble Path and pecan pie together? But with that being Pebble Path and the little coloring in of the leaves in pecan pie, it just goes well together. Then for this, I'm going to just use some liquid glue. And I'm going to attach, and I'm attaching this first to my vellum so I know where I can put my dimensionals for the back of the vellum so that I don't see them through. Because if I put a dimensional way out here, you're going to be able to see that. So I'm going to keep my dimensionals on the inside of that. And then I'm going to place this kind of along the side here. Just to add a little bit of the leafing that is in the designer paper. So this is a big enough die that I didn't feel like I needed to put adhesive sheets on it. I could just add just a little bit of glue here and there and go ahead and put that down. And there was this line here that I just kind of followed with that as well. All right. And then I'm going to add dimensionals and I'm going to watch because I want this to be on here like that. But I want my dimensionals to be behind that label. And I also don't want any dimensionals where this cording is going to be. So I'm going to keep this center section free of dimensionals. And so I'm going to pop them, probably going to put 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom. I don't know why I feel like I have to put that many, or maybe I'll just put 2 on the bottom. I just need to keep that center part free. Just like to keep things a little bit balanced when they're heading through the mail because, you know, when they go through those machines, they can really damage your cards. And so I feel like if I have a little bit more balance, let's take the back off of that one too. And go ahead and put that there. All right, now we have those cork rounds, which I think these are so unique. And when you go ahead, thanks for sharing, Diane. Thanks for joining us, Karen. They're so unique and they just add a little bit to this. So I'm going to put a couple of them down here. So I'm going to take one of the bigger ones and one of the littler ones. And then I think I'm going to take maybe another big one so it stands up and put it up there. So it just adds a little bit of dimension. And honestly, when somebody gets this card, they're going to want to touch those and be like, oh my gosh, that's like cork because it is so unique. So yeah, Sarah said she uses a lot of dimensionals because she doesn't like saggy cards. I'm the same way. I'm like, oh, they're not that expensive. And I do cut all the edges off and use all of them as well. Okay, so there is our first card, which was inspired by this card. Nope, that's the one I made. By Cindy Westerning. Made this card. I'll take it out. I'm going to put her name back in there. So this is where I got the whole idea for the circle. Looks pretty similar, right? She used different gems and she used some strips on hers and put an embossing folder behind it. I opted to do something a little bit different because I wanted to bring that little golden leather trim in. I wanted to bring in the cork rounds. And so this is what I stole from that card was the greeting. But that's why I swapped. I don't have to, this card is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I like to make something my own when I'm making it on my video and not recreate something that someone else made. So I will sometimes steal portions of what somebody else made, and then I'll add my own little twist to it. So I used the same papers as her. I used the same greeting as her, but I switched it up by where I put my paper, and I also layered a little bit of that pecan pie in there instead of just doing the pebbled path. This is some of the DSP that I'm going to add to the flap of the envelope so that whoever receives this next week, you will have a pretty envelope to go along with a thank you card that is ready for you to write and get in the mail. All right, so there is our first card using the Notes of Nature bundle. Here are the cards that Jay made, just gorgeous. Just a little note to say hello. So this is cut out from the designer paper. Let me take these out of here because there is a glare. So this is cut out of the designer series paper. So this is gold. Here's that die that I told you about that I loved. It has a little bit of stitching and then these circles, and she tied and put some of that leather trim in there. Is that not so creative? Okay, so that was Jay's. Here she added it with some, looks like Misty Moonlight and Boho Blue. So look at how she stamped some of those background stamps. She roughed this up here and tore it, and then ended up die cutting this, offsetting it. And when she die cut it, the one in the back that's in the Misty Moonlight, she also, if you look real closely, she has some embossing on there as well. So today is all about you. Happy birthday. Isn't that beautiful? This one uses, I believe this is Pool Party. It's Pool Party or Coastal Cabana. Might be Coastal Cabana. Nope, I think it's Pool Party. But thanks for making me smile. Here she stamped the image and cut it out. She used some of the Pebble Path ribbon. So instead of just using the colors that are in there, it could get kind of boring just using gold and Pebble Path and pecan pie. So she added some other colors to it. So this one's Misty Moonlight and Boho Blue. That one I believe is Pool Party. And then this one has some of the Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock. And then this one, she stamped that image and she colored it in with, I think she didn't use blends. I think she ended up using a blender pen with ink. And there's that label punch, sending thanks. That's in the other, this little sending thanks is in the Stippled Rose, I think, stamp set. And then this is one of those book folds. Okay, just a little note. So this is the paper that she ended up cutting out with a deckled circle. These are some of the dies that come in with the Notes of Nature dies, the one that I used. It has these, I'm sorry, these are coming from the Stippled Rose. This is coming from the Stippled Rose, some of this. And then she has some of the linen thread. And then, like I said, this is a book fold that opens like that. So didn't she like, when you see these cards, don't you want to buy that stamp set in the bundle? That's what I'm saying. Like I was really good when it first came out, and I'm like, I'm not going to buy it. I got to limit myself. That's one that I could live without. And then I get Jay's cards and I'm like, oh my goodness, these cards are beautiful. I need to have that stamp set and I can't afford the whole bundle right now. So let's see, what can I get in here to get me started? And so I picked one of the bundles instead. So beautiful cards. I don't know if Jay's on here, but absolutely beautiful cards, Jay. All right, let me get this out of here, but let me keep my card so I can bring them back in at the end. Get the stamps out of here and the trim out of here. Oops, there goes my scissors. All right, Card number 2 is going to feature some of the stuff from Celebration. Okay, so Celebration is only 2 months, so it's January and February. Some of you have started to take advantage of that, and it's free products, right? And so today I'm going to be using one of the stamp sets that you get. Amanda just won this today. You get this free with $100 purchase. So you get the stamp set. You also get this embossing folder, which, oh my goodness, this embossing folder is my absolute favorite thing, right? My favorite embossing folder right now. I just love how simple it is. You can stamp things and you can emboss over the top of the things that you stamp, or if you can emboss designer paper like we're going to do today. It just adds a lot to the card, and very like faintly adds things to the card. So we're going to use that stamp set, and we're actually going to pair it with the softly stippled paper. Okay, so I love this paper that's in here. The papers are to die for. Like, you're looking at this going, why can't I buy this? Why do I have to spend 50? Because I want this and I want this and I want that, right? That's how I was when it first came out. I'm like, oh gosh, how in the world am I going to choose? So you can buy it all. And then you end up getting stamping rewards to go along with it. So, all right. Let me get to my page where I can share with you the dimensions of everything. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. This is going to be our base. So this is going to be a little bit of a fun fold. It's going to fold a little bit differently. This is wild wheat, which when this came out, I was like, nope, I can't do that. But as Stampin' Up! Has put wild wheat in some of the papers, and I've come to use it, it is a very nice accent color, and I really do like it in some of the cards that I've made. So then this is some of the designer paper. So we're going to use this side too. But on this side, it was kind of like a watercolor of the wild wheat. And I ran that through the embossing folder. And doesn't that look cool? Love that embossing folder. So that's going to go on there. Then we have, let me see what I have next for my thing. Lost Lagoon. Oops, that's supposed to say 3 1/4. I was typing this last night at like 10 o'clock right before I went to bed. 3 1/4 by 9, and I scored it at 4 1/2. So it's scored in half, and this is going to be like the opening piece of our card. Then I used some of the other side of that paper that has Lost Lagoon, and it has the wild wheat in it. And this measures 3 by 4 1/4. Okay. And then I needed another piece that was 3 by 4 1/4 that's going to go on the inside of our card, so that when I open it up, I have something on the inside. I'm going to have a scrap, and I cut one of the labels, from the Thoughtful Expressions. I cut one of those labels out that we're going to use as well. So let's pull our white pieces here, basic white, and we'll keep our envelope here because we're going to stamp our envelope as well. And let's pull in. So this is the stamp set. This is the, it's like 2-step stamping. So you can stamp the stems and the leaves in one color. And then these flowers go with that stamp. And then these flowers, the 3 bigger flowers, go with this image right down here. And you've got a hello there, you're in my thoughts, and I really appreciate you, which are greetings that I probably use the most, right? Just having a card on hand that says hello there, and I can stamp anything on the inside. You're in my thoughts. I can stamp anything in the inside, and I really appreciate you. I can stamp or write anything on the inside as well. Oh, Gian, I'm glad you received them. Yep, you were my winner last week. So enjoy those along. I think you also got the Hershey bar too. So enjoy that as well. All right. So we're going to be using Lost Lagoon and Wild Wheat ink. And for the inside, let me just get my stamps out here of my bucket. I got lots in my bucket. So I've got my stamps all on blocks. I am going to use the taller of the two backgrounds, and I'm going to use that in Wild Wheat. So this is the inside of my card. I'm going to leave it blank, and I'm just going to stamp a floral image. Let me get this out of here so it's not, so I can keep it leveled. Okay, so there's my stems, and then these are the flowers. Now, to match these up, there's a bunch of little buds, and the buds go in all of these little things that are kind of like the opening or the holder for the bud, I guess you could say. And so I'm going to ink up the floral image in Lost Lagoon, and I'm going to try to match up. So there's a bud, there's a bud. There's one, two on the top. And remember, I'm doing this with a camera between me and my piece of paper. Not too bad. So see how those little buds kind of, I was off a little bit, but not too bad. All right. So that's that one. Then on our scrap, we are going to stamp the other floral image. So again, I'm going to do the leaves and the wild wheat. And I'm going to do the flowers in the Lost Lagoon. And again, here's where my bud has to go. So I'm going to make sure my bud's in there. And there's that. All right, I'm going to stamp this one again on the outside of my envelope. And we'll take our floral image again. And that like just brings a little of it to the outside. I just realized I left a banner on here. So let me take that off. There we go. All right, let me go back to my comments. There we are. Okay, then on this label, we're done with the wild wheat. We can put that away. We're going to take the You Were in My Thoughts. And I'm just going to stamp that on that label. And before I put that ink away, I'm going to take, oh, here it is. I'm like, I know I had a sponge dauber. I'm going to take a little sponge dauber, and I'm just going to add a little bit of ink around the edges of this label because it's going to set on top of this designer paper right here. And with the background being white, it just stands out a little bit more if I can add a little bit of ink around the edges. And to my 49ers fan, I think that was Gian, and I can't remember who the other person was. Congratulations on the win. Our Packers played their hearts out. I thought that they played better for 3 quarters, but then when it came down to it, the 4th quarter killed them. But congratulations on the victory. All right, let's go ahead and good luck this weekend. There was somebody last week that was cheering for the Lions and for the 49ers. So hopefully you can decide who you're going to cheer for this week now that they're both in it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut this out. So there aren't dies to cut this out, but I wanted this fussy cut, and it really wasn't too difficult. When I fussy cut, I like to leave a little bit of a white edge around the outside instead of cutting right to the stamped image. And I think I've mentioned this many times, but I do not, my scissors is in my right hand because I'm right-handed, and that does not really move other than it's closing and then kind of opening back up again when I need to open it back up, like right now, and get it back in the end. My left hand is directing the paper where I want to cut. Okay, so my left hand is doing all of the maneuvering of the paper, and my right hand, where the scissors is basically just opening and closing the scissors. I like fussy cutting when especially if I have like a big project where I have to do it. I like just sitting in front of the TV and watching. I don't feel as guilty sitting in front of the TV and watching TV. Otherwise, I'm like, okay, I'm wasting a lot of time and I could be getting a lot of things done right now. But if I have a little bit of a project like this that I can work on when I am sitting in front of the TV, I feel like I can justify it that I'm doing something. As you can tell, I'm not a person who likes to just sit around. I have to always be kind of doing something. It's just, I don't know. I think I get that from my dad. My mom is very content. My mom can be very content. Well, she's always usually like on her iPad if she's watching TV or something. But my dad, he's getting better as he's getting older. He's getting better just being able to sit and not have to be doing something. But otherwise, he's always has to be up and doing something. That's kind of how I am. All right, we are ready to put this card together. All right, let's go ahead. Hello, Jean Maxwell from Arizona. Thanks for joining us. All right, I grab my glue and we're going to add. I don't think this is the glue that I had before. It wasn't sitting upside down. I didn't put, oh yeah, maybe it is. Okay, I'm going to really get the edges, and then because this is embossed, make sure I've got enough there to hold it in place, but I also don't want to see the little glue worms. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Yeah, Gian, I'm kind of torn between the Lions and the 49ers. I really don't care who wins, only because like it would be good if a team from the NFC North, the division that the Packers are in, makes it to the Super Bowl. It makes your division look that much stronger. But yet they lost to the 49ers and they probably should have won because they just blew it at the end. And so in some ways you want the team that you lost to be the one that actually ends up winning the Super Bowl, makes you look that much better. So I'm just kind of torn. I'll cheer for both teams, but I won't be disappointed if one team, and Gian, you've got a split household. Okay. So yeah, you're kind of the same way. I really don't care. Now I'm really giving this a good press with my glue because with this being embossed, you just want to make sure that that doesn't come off the front, that it stays on. And even if you wanted to, you could use some tear and tape there to make sure that it's really, or some Stampin' Seal Plus. The glue is really good. It will stick and it will not come off. It just needs time to dry. But I like it because it does give me a little bit of wiggle room if I don't get it centered right away. All right. And then that's going to go on our front. See now that wild wheat, even though we don't like that color, it's not the greatest color, but look at, you mix it with the colors that are in the designer paper and with that Lost Lagoon, and I like it. I really do. It's growing on me. Let's put it that way. When it first came out, I was like, who in the world picked this color? But with the colors that they've mixed it with, I really have gotten to like it. So there you go. It's not just for fall anymore. All right, so there's our inside, so we can add a greeting. This I'm just going to put up on dimensionals. I'm going to put it a little bit off to the side, and then this is going to come right in there to add my little floral image. So what I'm going to do, I do have dimensionals here already. I'm going to place a couple of dimensionals right at the edge, and then I'm going to place one on the end. So again, I've got enough dimensionals, but I don't have to worry about how far over I can put them because I've put them as far as I can really put them by putting it at the edge of the paper. I'm sorry for my reach there. I got to change where my little container is for my backs of my dimensionals. Okay, so you're in my thoughts. And then here's our floral image. And we're just going to pop that up. And then I'm just going to throw a little bit of glue on the tips of these leaves. Okay, and I take these off. I'm going to set them over here so I don't have to go past you again with my arms to throw them away in my little coffee mug that's over there. Okay, so you're in my thoughts. Then one of my favorite ribbons. I was talking to one of my customers who just signed up to be on my team with the promotion that's going on right now. And she said, you know, I forgot which ribbon she asked for and wondered if it was still in stock. I'm like, no, unfortunately. I know the little white one, that seam binding or the crinkly ribbon, that white one. Like, no, it wasn't, it was retired. And I said, she goes, I like it because it's small. And I'm like, I know. And I said, this is one of my favorite ones. And then she reminded me, I need a ribbon scissors here. I think mine fell on the floor before. Here it is, under my desk, where I couldn't see it because there wasn't enough light. She reminded me of the black and white ribbon, which I also love. I use that a lot. And then I really like the Sweet Sorbet, this ribbon right here. It's on my desk because I just used it. I like how tiny that is as well. I just like thin ribbons, and I like them when they're nice and soft, and I can make a really nice bow with it. And so those are my three like kind of go-to ribbons right now. Oh, and then I also like, it's in a combo pack. There's one with petal pink, and then there's one with lemon lime twist. They're tiny as well, and they make really nice bows too. So I'm just going to put a bow right there. You could also put like linen thread there. That's my other go-to, is linen thread. But because this had the Lost Lagoon, I just decided to opt for that ribbon. All right, and then let's put a few gems in here. These are the Blooming Pearls, which were in the holiday catalog, but they carried over. And there are some green ones up here, and these are kind of like some bluish colored ones down here. I don't think they're Lost Lagoon, but I think they go well with the Lost Lagoon. So I'm just going to, I need to put a new, every time I say that, and then, oh, there's putty coming out yet though. All right, let's put a couple of these up here, and we'll throw one down there as well. All right, so that just adds a little bit of embellishment to it. And again, the uniqueness of this is the fact that it opens up, instead of like a normal card, it has like a little card on the front of a card to open up. The secret is to cover up that wildly color. That's like, we're covering it up a little bit. Exactly. It's not the full card. It's there, but I like that. And I do like the Lost Lagoon with the wild wheat. There's a couple of colors that they've put with the wild wheat that I do like a lot. So there is our second card. Here are some other swap cards. Actually, I made most of these. I attended, this was a swap card, and I don't remember who did it because it didn't have a thing on the back. But I used this as one of my card buffet, but I switched it up, and instead of using green here, I used the Pebble Path. So I switched it up just a little bit, but beautiful card. Again, where I got the idea to emboss the designer series paper was from this, because look at how cool that is with that little bit of embossing on there. All right, and then I bought, for demonstrators, Rhonda Wade had a retreat that you could get with all the celebration stuff. And so we made this card, very fussy cut wild wheat, and this uses Calypso Coral. And then these are the in color dots. We got a pack of those when we ordered the retreat. We also got a pack of this twine, or jute, I think it's called, not twine. I think it's called jute. And it comes in all the in colors. And here is another one. that uses Lost Lagoon, and this is Pebbled Path because there's, I think, a little bit of Pebbled Path in there, and then it's mixed with crumb cake. And then this one has a little bit of a watercolor wash, and this one was supposed to have 2 of these back to back, and I opted just to do 1. And then there's the Pebbled Path, and then some of those dots again on a white card that just covers up the front with, I believe that was Pool Party. So yeah, the embossing folder, sometimes when they do stuff like this, when they come out with the new catalog, sometimes that stuff will be in the new catalog. And I'm really hoping this one is, because I love this embossing folder. I love the stamp set too. And I love the greetings. So like if I'm going to spend $100, and I really love that, I could see getting that. Now, if you really love all of the other papers that are in there, then it's hard to choose, right? So here are our 2 cards from today. So we've got both of them sort of like floral, stipply type. They kind of got a theme there. I think next week I'm going to use the Jungle Pals. So I showed you the card that Michelle made, but that'll mix it up a little bit instead of having all the florally stuff. And then I think I might use that Stippled Rose. I know somebody asked me for that when I was asking for suggestions. Like, could you do the Stippled Rose? And I don't think I ever did. And I just made a birthday card for my mom 2 weekends ago with that stamp set. And so, and with the dies. And so I'm thinking that maybe I will pull that out and we will use that for one of our cards next week. All right, let's see here. Let's do this and this and this. And here I am. All right, I'm going to turn this light off because that's right in my face. All right. And I've got this other one over here with my other lights off. I look kind of whited out, but that's all right. So next week, I was supposed to have a card buffet, but because I moved one and then we had snow and I moved it again, I'm giving those ladies a couple of weeks break. So I'm moving it a couple of weeks so that they don't have 2 card buffets right on top of each other. I find that my attendance goes down a little bit when you have to buy things or make a purchase or spend money that close together. So I will be at 8:30 next week. And then it's the week after that I will be on retreat. And I'll remind you again next week. I'm thinking what I might do is I might record a video and make a card challenge for that week. So if you're not watching me, or if you pop on, I will give you all the dimensions and I will make 1 or 2 cards using that layout. And then I will challenge you to a card layout in the week that I'm gone. So let's see. Thanks, Betty. You have a great week too. Yeah, Mary, love that embossing folder. Thanks, Nancy. Thanks, Julie. Kathy, yeah, I love that. The color combination, Michelle, Stampin' Up! Rocks it out of the ballpark sometimes when they put color combinations together. So you look like you're just like, wow, you put those colors together. I would have never done that. No, I wouldn't have either, but Stampin' Up! Did, so I copied it. All right. Hi, Mary. It's okay that you caught me late. You can definitely go back and watch the replay. So that's all I have for today. I hope that you have a great weekend. Find some time to be crafty and creative. And I will be back here again next week. Oh, thanks, Nancy. Yeah, Catholic Schools Week's this is gonna be a crazy week for me, but it's also so much fun. Keeps me young, I guess. Anyway, or makes me feel really old at the end of the day, one or the other. So thank you all so much for joining me. Whichever team you're cheering for, I hope that they win. And have a great weekend. Bye-bye.